is winding down. I don't know the exact number, but 4 or 5, that's it.
recognizing women who make a difference in our community. The event is Saturday. Sponsorships are also available. Find more information online at bcsprenatal.org. Submit your nonprofit event to news@wtaw.com. Did you miss Checkpoint XP Saturday night at 10? It's available on demand in the Pod Center at zone1150.com. Checkpoint XP, gaming radio by gamers for gamers, discussing video games and esports. I'm Chelsea Reber for the Zone 1150 AM and 93.7 FM.
Hey, time for happy hour. You in?
It's 2 in the afternoon.
I'm not talking about drinking. I'm talking about happy hour at Urban Bricks. You get a full-size foundation pizza at the half pizza price from 2 to 5, Monday through Friday, if you mention the happy hour special.
So, I order any foundation pizza at Urban Bricks, mention the happy hour special, and get the whole pizza for the half pizza price?
Yeah, every Monday through Friday from 2 to 5 p.m.
Well, let's go to Urban Bricks happy hour.
Not valid with any other offer, dine-in only.
Crest Roofing and Remodeling says good driving habits aren't furnished with a driver's license. You must acquire them by using good judgment and common sense behind the wheels. So, don't drink when you drive. The life you save may be your own. This message is from Crest Roofing and Remodeling right here in College Station, specializing in residential re-roofs, insurance adjuster, and roof inspections. Call for free estimates at 690-4000. That's 690-4000. Crest Roofing, wishing our kids a safe prom and graduation season.
Together, we can turn a stairwell into an ER at a moment's notice. Together, we can turn a rescue ship for refugees into a maternity ward. Together, we can vaccinate 710,000 people in just 11 days. Together, we are Doctors Without Borders. Doctors Without Borders goes where others don't to provide life-saving medical care. Learn more at doctorswithoutborders.org.
Hey Jude.
Paul McCartney.
Let it be, let it be.
The only Texas tour stop. June 14th at the Globe Life Park in Arlington. Two free tickets.
Yesterday.
Sponsored by the Bank and Trust and College Station UPS stores.
Baby, I'm amazed the way you love me all the time.
Online at chiphoward.com.
Good afternoon, Bryan, College Station. Welcome to the Beliucci Hour Lunch, live on Sports Radio 1150 The Zone, 93.7 FM. I'm your host, Ryan Brauninger, here at the Tap on Harvey Road, as we are each and every Monday and Thursday to talk all things Aggie sports. Don't forget karaoke here tonight, Wednesday nights piano bar, and on Tuesdays and Fridays they have crawfish starting at 6 p.m. And if you need something to eat for lunch, come check out the Tap's great lunch menu. I've got the Diablos on the way, $8.49 burger basket, a lot of good things to eat. If you need some suggestions, come ask our friends at the front table. They'll point you in the right direction. Really interesting weeks, or since the last time we've been on the air here with the Beliucci Hour. The Aggies have hired an interim athletic director in R.C. Slocum, and actually, whenever we asked last Thursday for suggestions for the AD, somebody wrote R.C. Slocum on one of those cards. So kudos to you if you wrote that. I don't know that they knew it was going to be in an interim capacity, but that's where we're at right now. R.C. Slocum, all-time winningest coach at Texas A&M, football coach, will now be the interim athletic director as a national search continues, and we'll get Liucci's thoughts on that and his thoughts on R.C. and what R.C.'s job will entail between now and the time that A&M finds a full-time replacement. Over the course of the weekend, A&M baseball goes to Columbia, South Carolina, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Actually, just Thursday and Saturday, and wins 2 or 3 from the Gamecocks on the road. Anytime you can win a series on the road in the SEC, it's a big deal. I thought it was completely I don't know what the word is. Bush League maybe, what South Carolina pulled on Friday. They canceled the Friday night game, which was supposed to be first pitch of 7 o'clock there locally, so 6 Central, 7 Eastern. They canceled that game at 8 or 9 in the morning due to the threat of weather and moved that game to Saturday morning the next day for a doubleheader to start at 11 o'clock and play 2 7-inning games. From what I understand, it rained all of about 20 minutes on Friday in Columbia, South Carolina. So they canceled that game at 9 o'clock in the morning, could have played that night and played 2 9-inning ball games, one Friday and one Saturday to close out the series. But and I don't know that this was part of it. This is just me speculating. I don't know this for sure. But it's certainly a competitive advantage for South Carolina to play 2 7-inning games on Saturday as opposed to a 9-inning game Friday and a 9-inning game Saturday, because the South Carolina bullpen had been putrid all year in contrast to what A&M's has been. And so the Aggies dropped Game 2 of the series, Game 1 on Saturday, 3-2 in 7 innings. A&M didn't play well, but you would have liked to see A&M get some more chances to swing the bat there against that South Carolina bullpen. They brought their closer in the 5th inning. You don't do that in a 9-inning game, obviously. So South Carolina was able to pull that off. And just I know that it didn't sit well with me, but I'm far away looking at it. I'm not, inside those phone calls or inside those decision-making processes at all. And I know A&M, they had a deal with Missouri that came here, and most of these schools charter and they fly out. I mean, A&M was staying an extra night anyway. Why couldn't you have tried to play Friday night? I didn't get that logic from the South Carolina side. But, again, A&M goes on the road, wins 2 out of 3, moves up to number 6, I believe, in the D1 baseball poll, and from here on out does not play an RPI worse than, I believe, 51. I think the lowest RPI remaining on the schedule is number 51. They get UT Arlington in here on Tuesday night. A very, very good UTA team that is on the bubble of being an at-large bid in the NCAA tournament. Then they've got road series at Ole Miss. You come home from Mississippi State. You go to Bama, and then you finish up at home with Arkansas. These last 4 series, it'll be a huge story in what A&M's postseason path to Omaha would look like. Are they hosting a regional and a super regional? Are they just hosting a regional? Or are they on the road for a regional? I mean, all that is still very much within the realm of possibility for this season. And I looked up a little stat last night. A&M baseball is 20-1 on the season when they score 5 runs. So the offense doesn't have to be great. They score 5 runs, you feel good about them winning the game. As we welcome in Billy Liucci after an Easter weekend. Did you get to see the family, man?
Yeah, they came up.
They came
to me finally.
Dolores cooked you some Italian treats?
No. We went over to Traditions and enjoyed a little Easter lunch.
Did you have to go on an Easter egg hunt?
No.
You would be awful at that. I would be too because I'm colorblind, but you're blind. Yeah. That's why we can't let you do this baseball deal. We're going to have you just commentate on it. Gabe against anybody in the company.
I'd have to wear my contacts, that's for sure, which I haven't done lately.
So we started the show. It was funny because last Thursday somebody actually brought R.C. Slocum's name up here to us on one of those index cards. And you said then it actually would not be a bad interim deal. And that's what that's where we're at. R.C. Slocum, the interim AD at A&M. First of all, what do you think of the decision? And then what do you expect out of his role between now and when they hire a new guy?
To just provide stability and right the ship. And I think just that, just provide stability, maybe even assist in the AD search on some capacity. I mean, Lord knows he's qualified to tell you what the characteristics of a successful, good athletic director would and should be. I mean,
especially at this place.
Yeah, I mean, even though he didn't have a lot of them in his time. In fact, I don't know, was the only one he had Wally Groff, but he sat back from front row seats and watched Bill Byrne, Eric Hyman, Scott Woodward, and obviously what he does in college football. Probably has a long list of guys that he considers friends that are ADs. So on some level, I think it's badass that they named him, and if it does turn into something that has to be a little bit longer term, he is certainly one of the few people, maybe the only person around here that could handle that day to day. You know, Justin Moore, Stephanie Rempe, those two would be the only two I'd even consider outside of it. But RC can navigate through the different layers that this job has to deal with, you know, with And I don't mean in some instances I mean that in where it's rough to deal with, and others it's not. But you look from the 12th man to the head football and basketball coaches to all the coaches to the day-to-day stuff to the board of regents, the chancellor, the president. There's a lot that an AD does that goes beyond just hiring a football coach around here. So everybody that thinks, oh, it's an easy job, they got a football coach and a basketball coach. It's much harder than that, especially for a new guy. Now, Scott, had he stayed, could have kind of hit a little bit of a cruise control in that regard. But now with a new person, there's all these relationships to build and to figure out who you need to be on the right side of it. And RC knows all that stuff and is universally respected. Here's the thing, though, Bronny. To say all that, my personal opinion, having an interim AD does not last very long. That's I believe
that was my next question about timeline.
But if it doesn't, I'm glad that it'll be R.C. Slocum sitting there.
And you believed last week that Jimbo Fisher would have a huge say in a huge piece of the puzzle into the final athletic director hire. So I guess the question has to be asked: what kind of relationship does Jimbo have with R.C.?
I think it's. I've never heard anything other than it's fine. But it's a different relationship when you're going to be AD head coach relationship as opposed to former legendary head coach relationship. So, but again, RC's not lobbying. He did not lobby for the job. He's not angling for the job. He's doing this for Texas A&M. I think everyone needs to understand that. I made a joke about it, but it really is true. He's like the 12th man right now where he's coming out of, hey, we need you. Come out of retirement, come out of the stands here and come, help your university right now because we're in a bit of a pinch. And help your football program because we're in a bit of a pinch. And he's doing it, and I promise you, you try being not retired, but retired from the grind that comes with coaching for 15 years and all of a sudden start doing that.
I think it's really lucky that he's around.
They are.
Yeah, it's very lucky. So,
but I just think it's going to be shorter rather than longer.
Well, we had this question brought up to us from here at the Tap. Who will be in charge of this AD search? And I think that's a question a lot of Aggies are going to ask after what happened with Scott Woodward's departure.
Yeah. I think who's in charge of it? I still think it's Michael Young, to be perfectly honest with you. And here's the deal. I know everybody thinks, they worry about, the Regents and John Sharp. I don't think they meddle in the hiring. Like they didn't tell Scott Woodward who to hire in football and basketball. Now, I don't think they told Michael Young who to hire in as an AD because, look, he hired his guy, Scott Woodward. Scott Woodward hired his guy, Jimbo Fisher. They went out and got, like I said, they didn't go and say you have to hire Buzz Williams. So I think those that are worried about, oh, my God, who's going to make the hire? I don't think that's the issue. And I know that Michael Young's status is uncertain, but those guys don't know how to hire an AD, and they understand that. Michael Young knows how to hire an AD because he's done that before. And I do think you give a big, a big percentage of the input to Jimbo Fisher on this. So if you said rank them, I go Michael Young and with a lot of input and feedback from the head football coach right now. But they don't tell you, you're not hiring him, you're hiring him. But what they'll do, I think, is that where you have to go around and play the political game and get stuff done, and maybe this is where Woodward and either the Regents or John Sharp will get crossways maybe is it's not like you're just going to walk up and go, hey, I got Jimbo, and they go, hell yeah. Well, I got Jimbo, and oh, by the way, but for him, I've been working on this, but for him to come, it's $7.5 million a year. Oh, wait, what? Oh, yeah, and it's a 10-year guarantee. Wait, what? So that could be – that's where that gets difficult to navigate. And then, hey, we're going to hire Buzz Williams. We're going to buy out BK for this, and we're going to pay a basketball coach this, and not go the mid-major route.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they're going financially. Maybe we should go the mid-major route. No, I'm the AD. I know what's best. We're going to get this deal done and then present it to them and see how they like it. So sometimes maybe people get a little bit jammed up in that regard. But for me, I think I'm totally convinced they'll let Michael Young make the hire. And I think they have to understand one thing. By they, I mean the decision makers in terms of whoever's fault it is. If you want to be in the camp that says it's the upper administration dropped the ball, or it's both sides, or Scott was leaving anyway, whatever camp you're in, the fact of the matter is it was a screwed up, it's a bad situation that A&M's in right now. It's not the optimal situation, and you're gonna pay a lot to get a new AD in, and depending on who it is, and very likely you're going to be paying this guy as much and probably more than it would have cost you to keep Scott Woodward. So, you know what I'm saying, Bronny? I mean, it is
stuff.
what it is.
Yep.
And so hopefully the people that are signing off on any contracts understand that, because that can't be a deal breaker.
Well, and I think a lot of it, there's a lot of trust on the line with the A&M fan base and the administration with this hire. Agree?
Yeah, agree.
On the other side of the break, a lot more to get to. You listen to the Beliucci Hour and Lunch live on The Zone. Welcome back, Beliucci Hour Lunch. Ryan Brauninger, Beliucci with you here at the Tap on Harvey Road every Monday and Thursday from noon to 1 before we kick it back to Louis. And a big weekend for Aggies on the 2018 A&M football roster as the NFL draft approaches. Liucci, I got a little – I kind of gave the thing today. I got a little game that I was going to play with you, and we're going to talk Aggies in the NFL draft, and then we'll go – players on the current team that will, be you think will be 5 highest draft picks on the current team, excluding Justin Matabike, and then we'll go a little.
Why excluding? Let's put
because
him in
because it makes it easier on.
Well,
makes it tougher on you if you don't.
4 instead of 5.
Yeah, I know.
All right, whatever.
And then we're going to do a recruit draft if we've got time.
Okay.
In the final segment, final couple segments where we each take turns taking 5 guys in the state uncommitted. That we would take as like a draft.
Let's do this.
So start with the A&M players in the draft this week. Just anything that you've been hearing about through your contacts and NFL sources with A&M players surging late maybe that will go a little higher than we expect?
Not a lot. Let me do all that this week.
Yeah.
Thursday would be a good day to talk about it. It'll be leading up to the first round of the draft. Let's revisit this Thursday because that's going to be I'm going to take some specific time out this week to kind of circle back with all my sources.
Well, we can come back. I did see that that Eric McCoy was in Todd McShay's first round.
Yeah. I think McCoy's a late first, early second at worst. I think his range is really starting to, tighten up.
I loved his going back and watching his film. And then
are you in Mel Kiper now? You're going back
No.
and
But I did go back and watch him in the bowl game and the LSU game. He's just so good, man.
He's dominant center.
The best center I've ever watched in my eyes. So, and I don't really know what I'm looking at, but I know that he was better than everything I've seen.
Mm-hmm. That's like me saying
any chance
Braden Shoemake's the best hitter I've seen at A&M.
We could go into that and we have a deep discussion. I think he's a top 10 player probably at A&M. Well,
I'll say
close.
this. I think I don't know if McCoy's the best center I've ever seen. I think he and Seth McKinney are the 2 best I've watched at Texas
Walrus.
A&M. Walrus was good, dude. Let's not forget the Walrus started 50 straight games. Started on a Big 12 championship and was like a 2-time All Big 12 pick. But just what Eric's got is just Eric, these past 2 years is the best 2 years I've seen from a center at A&M. And I think McCoy's upside is through the roof good. And I think as a prospect, and I love these 2 guys, but I like him more than I liked Ifedi and Said coming out.
I think he's a more guarantee.
Round. Yeah.
He's just so steady.
And Ifedi and Said is one of my best friends to come out of here in recent years that I still both those guys I still stay in touch with, but I like them going in the first round, but I just think if you rated 1 to 5 the 4 first rounders in McCoy in terms of how confident I am of exactly what they're going to do in the NFL, I'd had McCoy 3rd behind Matthews, then Jokel, and that's saying something because Ifedi is starting to really turn a corner in Seattle, and it's going to end up making a hell of a lot of money because his last year and a half have been pretty damn good.
Between Travion, Jace, and Kingsley, which one of those do you think could find themselves in the second round?
I think Jace would be the most likely.
Of those 3?
Yeah, and I'd be surprised if Jace fell past the 3rd. I could see him go in some dream scenario, some team could just fall in love with him in the 25 to 32 range or whatever. And I think in the worst case scenario, he could fall late 3rd, early 4th, and you go, man, I wish he would have come back. He really hurt himself. But I think, with that said, I think Jace is a really good shot of going in the second round.
Last thing before I know you're going to have a lot more of this on Thursday, but does Gilly get drafted?
I believe so. I've had 2 NFL coaches, not scouts, tell me. One of them said, I'll draft him if he's out there. I'm going to talk to my head coach and stand on the table for us to draft him. And the other one said, I don't see any way he doesn't get. He said his exact words were, I'd be really surprised if he didn't get drafted.
All right, so let's go to the current A&M team, and this will give us more time to do the recruiting draft because I think that'll take the longest. current A&M team, and I'll let, if you want to have Matabike, you can, but 4 to 5 guys that you feel very comfortable that will be drafted in the top half of the draft that are on this roster.
First, let's just say guys with a chance to go in the first 3 rounds or something. I start with Matabike. Second is, I think, just as easy, and I would say Bobby Brown. This is where it'll get interesting. It's too early to say any of the DBs. The linebackers are completely unproven. Even Buddy Johnson and Anthony Hines, they're unproven. Go back to up front. Michael Clemens got all the physical tools. He hasn't played yet. I don't think I would put him on there. Tyree Johnson's impressive small body work. Jaden Peavy's a freaking stud. Hadn't played a ton, though.
I think Peavy's going to be a guy, though, that NFL scouts will.
Oh,
really,
I do
and you
too.
know who else, if they have a good year next year, I think we'll have guys knocking at his door, is Debian Renfro.
Debian Renfro has all the physical skills. He's played a ton of football. So if his last 2 years are his best 2, then you start having that conversation.
Right.
I agree with you. But he's got a long way to go, though. I mean, you go back and still watch that Mississippi State game, and, he's got a long way to go. He's got, he's still growing up into into being a stud college player. I do think he's got it in him, though. I like Debian. I like what he's made of. He's got some stuff to him, at the corner position. And
but Kellen,
athlete. Okay, so if you want me to finish and make my own list, I will. I'll do it quickly so you don't gabe me and make the list for me. Kellen, Dan Moore are going to be my other 2 to go with Brown and Matabike. I think Dan Moore is has high round potential. He's got, again, these guys need to realize, don't get caught up in thinking you got one more year left, because if you do that, you're going to get off the path.
Forget that Dan Moore's a junior.
Yeah, you're going to get off the path.
Played a ton of football.
Kellen Mond and Dan Moore, if they want to, have probably 26, 27, games of college football left. Think about that. And they've got that much college football ahead of them. Dan Moore has a chance to be a real stud. And Kellen, because of the position he plays, and it's still, again, Kellen has a long way to go, don't get me wrong, to be a high-round NFL top half of the draft type of quarterback. But you see some of those guys going, and I would just challenge you, all these Aggie fans that love to do nothing but question Mon and things like that, it's like, look at him as a sophomore and know that I'm not sure where he is, but I know he was projected there early on. Look where the guy at NC State that you watch in that bowl game's going. I mean, I think Kellen with 2 more years absolutely could go in the top half. There's no question about it. No question in my mind. Dan Moore, Kellen Mond, and then I would say this one's tough because I'm going to tell you where I'm going. I feel really good about Jashawn Corbin, but I'm going to go with older guys, though. And I'm going to say it's going to be one of those 3 receivers. Kendrick Rogers has the first-round highlight reel. Jamon Osmond has the NFL body, and he's consistent as hell. But I'll go Courtney Davis because I think he has a chance to be pretty he has a chance to have a pretty special junior season.
Well, and I think the word coming out of Bright during the toward the end of the year last year was that the folks there and the coaching staff and the evaluators started thinking, this kid looks like every other receiver we've had at Florida State that went that high. And he certainly produced like that at the end of the year. Very precise route runner. Better after the catch than I think most people give him credit for.
I don't know why
Huge against LSU, South Carolina. He was great. I think
Clemson. I don't know. We've gone through this. He kicked ass last year, and he was a big moment guy as well. And it was really his first year of college football. Think about that.
Yep. On the other side of the break, we'll flip to a little bit of recruiting and listen to Beliucci Hour Lunch live on the Zone. Welcome back to the Beliucci Hour lunch, the Tap on Harvey Road. Don't forget tonight here at the Tap Karaoke, you come hear Steve sing if you want to, something Luch likes to do often. And then on Wednesday nights, Piano Bar, Tuesdays and Fridays, crawfish starting at 6 p.m. And we wanted to get into this recruiting game where essentially a draft, Luch, and we'll go with uncommitted players in the state that you would like to see A&M get in this class, and we can go 5 rounds deep. So we go 10 total players in state, and I will let you have the first pick. Do you want a pen for this? Tyler, can we get him a pen?
We can start without a pen.
He's going to need one. Thank you, Tyler.
Thanks, Tyler.
All right, Luch, you go first. In-state uncommitted players. Now, it's not so you can't go take a Ryan Watts who just committed to Oklahoma.
Yeah. Okay. Which was a big loss, I think.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the guy A&M really wanted.
You can't be losing defensive players regularly to OU. And then, the Grinch came in. The Grinch.
I mean, give them a little bit more hope up there.
I think so, too. I think that was a good hire by them. But A&M's got to combat that, and A&M's got to continue to recruit at the level they were last year when they found themselves in the top 5. And we can't just sit there and keep going, well, it's a number thing, because, I mean, I'd like to see them hit a momentum curve here pretty quickly. Sometime this month, the coaches are out, spring evaluation. I think they're on the verge of doing that. I think, mark my words, you're going to start seeing some dominoes fall here pretty shortly.
I believe so, too. And who knows where they're going to come from. And everybody's, itching for momentum, and I think
we're
they'll
doing
get
a
it
draft
before.
in-state.
In-state, you're up.
Okay.
With the first pick of this made-up draft at the Tap.
First pick of this made-up draft, I will go.
You got like how I said that, the draft, and we're at the Tap?
Yeah, I get it. I'll go Zach Evans.
Oh, you went Zach Evans.
Yeah.
Shock. I mean, yeah, good pick. Can't go wrong with that pick.
Yeah, pretty easy.
I will go. I'm going to surprise you. I'm actually not, because I'm a big fan of this guy.
You're going to go Garrett Hayes.
Nope. I'm going Devon A-Chain.
Okay. I like that.
Ran a 20.4 200. Did you see that? 20.4 200.
Insane. A&M. I think A&M is about to be all over him.
I think the priority level on him went way up.
It should. As well it should. I mean, that's rare. You like getting guys that can do things, even if it's just a thing. And I think he's more than a one-dimensional. But, I mean, even if it's just a thing, you get a guy that can do things that very few players can do.
Well, what makes him so intriguing is that the film is there to match that speed.
Yeah, something that sets you apart from other guys. So I love that pick. So with my next pick, I really want to see A&M strengthen the O-line. I'm a little concerned with where their recruiting's at there with the coaching change and stuff. It kind of threw off the continuity and stability. I like Garrett Hayes.
Good pick.
I would love to see them land Garrett Hayes at A&M Legacy.
Good pick. I think, for me, the most talented, gifted offensive lineman in the state of Texas this year. Incredible that he went essentially under the radar as a junior, his entire junior season, and then all of a sudden the tape starts coming out and everybody's going, oh, my God, this kid's a different kind of dude. With my next pick, my second pick, I will go with Alfred Collins at a defensive end at a Bastrop Cedar Creek. I think there are – A&M's doing a good job with some defensive ends, especially around the country, but I think he's the best pure
pass rusher
combination. He's big enough and long enough to play on the edge as well. I think he's the best defensive lineman in the state of Texas. I'm going to go Alfred Collins. Be a tough get, though. Family ties to Texas, much like Garrett Hayes has ties to A&M. Alfred Collins has family ties to Texas.
Great pick, though, and look, A&M doesn't get every guy with family ties to A&M. Like they're sitting here. I'm sitting here at Sam Adams, and Washington's getting all this momentum. A&M hasn't got him even here yet. So that frustrating trend has gone on a little bit. I want to see that snapped. Or the flip side, you go get an Alfred Collins, despite his family ties to Texas. That would be great. A&M's had tremendous success head-to-head against Texas since Jimbo arrived, and I think on some level that's going to continue. My next pick, I might go a little bit out now. You're saying uncommitted guys. I might go a little bit off the beaten path here and go with a guy that I think just a really good football player. And I'm going to go, he's a little undersized. I'm going to go Xavier Alford out of Shadow Creek. Summer Creek. Yeah, Shadow Creek. But
Aggie head coach down there, Brad Butler.
And I just think he's a little undersized, but I think
shows up around the football.
Damn football player, and I like that.
Yeah, and they're out to battle Texas and LSU for that one as well. I'll stay in the defensive backfield for my third pick, and I'll go Marco Damio, the corner out of Blinn.
Oh, we're doing JUCOs.
Like I said, in-state uncommitted prospects.
I didn't know we were going JUCO.
Damio his tape is unbelievable.
This pick.
Why?
Because I would have chosen him with my pick there, and you could have had Alford. But I just think a JUCO corner is going to be a need because here's the thing. You passed on Marcus Banks, who went to Alabama. You kind of backed away at the very end of the finish line at Jay Ward. Where'd he end up going? I just stopped following him. Miami, you're right. No, that was the guy that was LSU that they were looking at, right? And I forget his name even.
Jay Ward is South Carolina, maybe.
Well, they backed off of the guy there at the end, and the one guy went to Miami, and then Marcus Banks. Contrary to what some know-it-all on the TexAgs forum seems to think, A&M backed off on that. I think if you get Damio, you're basically saying that is who you took instead of one of those guys last year, and I would love that, and I do think that'd be an upgrade. He's a better looking prospect than all three of those were.
All right, you're up.
Oh, I will say in-state. Back to what you were saying.
There's a big one still out there.
Yeah, I'd go Vernon Broughton along the D-line.
Oh, okay.
I'd go Vernon.
Supposed to be on campus today.
I know who you're talking about, but I think, again, you go back to that defensive line thing and how there aren't a lot in state, and the guys that are good and offer-worthy and high-end, high-end Power 5 type prospects, they're worth even more so than they normally would be.
All right, so if you're going to leave me Troy O'Meara, I'm going to take Troy O'Meara just as a guy on the opposite side of Damon Demas that is complete and total matchup nightmare. And, he has been a little inconsistent at some of these camps and these big events in terms of catching the football. But when he puts it all together and he's got a good day, man, he's a big dude. I mean, I bet he's 6'4", 220 pounds, and really athletic and strong-looking kid. So that one's kind of split down the middle. I think if I had to pick today, I think he'd probably land in Austin. But there are some factions inside of his inner circle that would like to see him play at A&M. Yeah,
I think part of it, Bronny, is I guess they haven't put out my top 44 yet.
I think
2020.
They have. I believe they have. You got to go to recruiting and then click on Liucci 44.
Oh, I did. So they haven't put it up yet.
I thought it was up.
But that's not surprising. So we'll try to get that fixed. I'm sure I'll be getting some text. But then again, maybe I didn't send it to him.
That's just as likely.
Except I'm actually positive that I did. So we'll be getting a text saying, "Oh my gosh, sorry about that. We screwed up, but it's too late. We screwed up." I'm looking at your list for my pick now, and as easy as it would be to start naming other running backs, I think we're kind of not playing that game because we've drafted Zach Evans. And you said uncommitted guys because I'm a huge fan of Drew Sanders.
Yeah,
and Ryan Watts. So if I'm A&M, I absolutely continue to push these guys. I think I'll go back into the secondary here, and I'll go with a corner that I believe can really cover in Josh Eaton.
That's a good pick. Very long. Again, another one that's going to come down probably to A&M in Texas. I'd like to see him at camp this summer at A&M just to see him, respond to the A&M coaching staff. But who knows if he'll last that long. He certainly doesn't need to come to camp. He doesn't have to. But a lot of those guys last year, Eric Young came to camp.
Yeah.
Joel Williams came. All these guys that had committable offers and A&M commits came to camp. So not a bad pick. So
I love how LSU and like people up at the Dallas Morning News are falling for the hype and saying they got all these top 50 guys. It's Alec Bryant, Cortland Ford, and Josh White are three of the four that A&M wouldn't take if they called today trying to switch.
Yeah, they
none of the three.
Josh White,
and then and you're going to promote them in this state,
or Alec Bryant,
and say you're trying to be unbiased, but you got to get the right information. The real article would be, why is LSU taking multiple players from Texas at the Aggies, and that Texas A&M is not pursuing? You know, it doesn't mean they're right, but that's an interesting side of that story.
All right, I think with my final pick, I'm going to stay on the defensive line, too.
You're going to go Princely.
Yep. I almost went Seth McGowan because I believe in Seth McGowan as a player, but also having spoken to him and knowing what he's got going on off the field in terms of a chance to be a valedictorian in his class. And,
I think he's a stud.
Yeah, and just a guy, he's going to remind you, I think, off the field, a lot of Travion Williams.
Yeah.
Leadership qualities, toughness, lead by example at practice, and a good – when you have a guy that's that talented, that is a good fit for the locker room, I think that's a special combination. But I am going to go Princely Uman-Mielen because I think if you had him and Alfred Collins on the defensive line this year in state, you take that and run with it. Swing guy that could play inside or out. Very similar high school film to Kingsley Kiki, actually. So you have a Kingsley and a Princely. Again, A&M, Texas, OU there. It's going to be tough for them to pull. So all these guys on our list – maybe outside
Can
of
we stop saying tough to pull? I mean, doesn't that go without saying? Isn't that the
well,
deal
that's what my
now?
deal. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. All these guys on these
I don't mean
list
you. I
tough.
just mean in general. Like, let's go.
I mean, outside of Marco Damio, do you feel like A&M is the clear-cut leader for any of these guys we mentioned? Maybe Devon Achane?
No, I don't. And that's something they'll have to.
The thing with Achane is that he's kept such a lid on his recruitment, and he's been such big into this track deal. I would love to see A&M get him to campus and send him over there to Pat Henry for half the day.
That might be a done deal when you do that.
Yeah, let him see all those national championships.
How could you not? I mean, I've heard that. I haven't been in there yet, and I need to go, but I've heard that facility. It's not as grandiose as football and stuff, but I've heard just in terms of how nice it is the nicest, most first-class, badass facility on this campus. And, yeah, it's like Kentucky basketball or Alabama football, because when you walk in, there's 8 million national championship trophies that Pat Henry has accumulated.
Yeah, if there's one guy on campus that's earned that kind of facility.
So it adds to the impact and effect. So it'd be great for them to get these football guys that are legitimate
Bryce Foster in
track
2021. Yeah, shot put throw. On the other side of the break, we'll close the show with your question from here at the Tap. You listen to Beliucci Hour Lunch live on the Zone.
Celebrate the greatest hobbies out there. Brewing and barbecuing at Aggie Way and Egg and Brew.
Taco Bell. At participating stores for
Final segment of the show today, Monday afternoon. We got questions from here at the Tap. Ryan Brauninger, Beliucci with you on the main stage here. Let's see. I think I'm missing one. Luce, did you write something on the back one?
No.
No. I guess I thought we had 4, but I guess we've only got 3.
I ripped one up, so it could have been that.
That's probably it. Will we see some more evaluations now that it is camp season, or do the coaches have their big board pretty well set?
I think it's anything but set right now.
I think it's very fluid.
And it's very difficult because there's not a ton of screaming takes in state defensively right now. So it's real fluid. Camps will be important for some in-state guys and then obviously out-of-state as well. So, and it's not camp season yet. It's spring ball season.
Mm-hmm.
Camp season's another month out. This is spring eval period. So, yeah, I think that's significant as well. I do think you'll see a couple more guys emerge in-state over the next few weeks.
You definitely did rip up, because I already asked one of them. You definitely did rip up that one. What did you think of? I think you can put that together, or at least figure out what it said.
Yeah, sure.
Ryan, what did you think of Rob pulling Cam Blake in Game 1 Saturday, then putting back in for Game 2? Listen, he absolutely had to be pulled after what he did on I don't know if you saw it, Luch. So he hit a ball that
I read about.
He thought it was going to be foul and drifted back fair and didn't run to first, and it should have been on second in a one-run game. And you absolutely 1,000% pull a kid for that, and Cam knows that. But I think you get on him, you jump his butt when he gets back in the dugout, and if he gives you the best chance to win Game 2, you play him, because here's what Cam's done this year. He's dove into 2 outfield walls trying to make plays. He has been an outstanding defensive left fielder. He made a mistake diving for a ball, but he's been giving you effort. Effort has not been an issue with Cam all year. You have to take him out after that game, or after he does that in Game 1, but you also put him back in Game 2 to show you, hey, listen, man, like, you screwed up. You know you screwed up. You paid for it. Let's go out and win us a game in a series.
On something like that, Cam Blake should take himself out of the game. And I don't mean that in a bad way, because I really like him as a player. And just like you said, I think he's been selling out for this team. My point of saying that is there should be a culture, and I know how Rob Childress coaches, and that culture's there. Like, any guy on that team and any guy that's ever played for Rob Childress, if you do something like that, you may as well just kind of start coming off the field and understand that your day's over.
Yep.
Because that's
it's inexcusable.
That's inexcusable, and it has nothing to do with the culture of A&M baseball. And it was a mistake, and that's why you put him back in the very next game, because he is a key player on the team. As long as he handled it well and didn't
and he homered in Game 2,
cause a big scene on the bench and undermine the coaching decision. Anything short of that, you put him back in. It doesn't have to be a long-term punishment. It might be the same day, but it's a different game, and the guy screwed up. I'm positive.
You see in the football, a guy gets a personal foul penalty.
Yeah.
They yank him. In a couple of series, they put him back.
Positive he was fully aware that he shouldn't have done that, and he responded accordingly. I was really happy to see that out of him. He's fine. It was just something, I think it goes without saying, if you do something like that, you're not going to finish the game under Rob Childress.